Right, so
So I'm
here's
going
the
to kick
video if
things
everyone
off on
wants
the
to come back
homepage.
into the video. Here's the demo. You want to start of it anyway and just see what it says, if anyone's interested.
The
Sorry,
homepage,
said out
or
loud.
called the dashboard, is basically just a top-line overview of your financials and your business numbers.
Always
So there's a bit of a
entertaining.
welcome note to your
Yeah, he
name,
is, isn't he?
and then
Yeah.
you've got
Nice.
total revenue and total expenses, and then a net profit
So
position.
now I've gone down that bloody
in the
rabbit hole.
example that we're looking
Good
at
job.
here, we've got a net profit position of $214 negative. So that's a really important thing, because a lot of us are out there sourcing inventory and we're buying like crazy, and we're not actually seeing the returns on eBay to the point where we're actually profitable on a whole. We might be selling individual items for a profit, but this number here, what this clearly shows is our actual business position. Then on the right hand side here, we've got revenue updates. Now, revenue updates is basically just a breakdown of your total expenses, your total income, and your overall profit for that particular month. So you get a monthly breakdown. Now, I will say all of these numbers on the left hand side, they are annual looks at it. So 2025 is what we're looking at here, everything that we've done from January 1st. So there won't be any markers to be able to change that to days, weeks, months, or years at this stage. But there are future plans along with every other page on this platform that has future reiterations in place to have these sort of features added in. So we do know about a lot of these things we want to bring in, but right now, just starting out, we do just have a holistic yearly overview of the homepage data that you're seeing here. If we come down to the bottom, we've got about 5 different insights. Again, the insights tab is going to really blow up. There's going to be a lot of intricate insights that we're going to bring into it later on down the line. But what we do have right now, I believe, a really cool, important piece of information that eBay can't necessarily give you. Considering they're only talking about revenue, they don't know your actual profits because you don't have your eBay or your eBay business expenses added into your eBay account. So we've got listed value distribution right here. So we have in this store right here as an example, 28 items listed between 0 and 50, 8 items listed between 50 and 100, and then there are 3 items between 100 and 150, and then 2 between 150 and 200. So a really cool little pie graph there, just to see whether or not your items are sort of sitting around the area that you want them to be listed at from an average sale price perspective. Just over here, we've got 3 stat numbers that are really, really important for every eBay seller. Your average sale price, so the quantity of the items that have gone on to sell, divided by the total revenue, gives you $96.43 for this store in particular. But our average price of all listed items is written out here as well. So we know that live right now, there's $56.79 listed. Stock on hand, I thought it was a big number to include. That's relating to what we have in our death pile, which is basically unlisted inventory, as well as the active listings that we do have live up for sale that are yet to go on to sell. That number is really important for tax time. A lot of accountants ask for that information with relations to your tax deductions. So $435 is that ongoing number, again, shown on a yearly basis. Next across, you've got expense breakdown. So as you can see here, MISC expenses are things like bubble wrap, butcher's paper, sticky tape, all of the other little bits and pieces that go into running an eBay business, and then the 3 big ones. You've got your cost of goods, your fees, and your shipping. So it's a really nice little indicator there to see where all your money's getting taken away from you. So if it's postage that's a real concern, or maybe you're promoting your listings incredibly high and your promoted listing fee is taking a large amount of your expenses, you might bring down your promoted listings as an example. So it's a nice little quick snapshot there on a yearly look, just to see how things are going from a numbers perspective. Like I said, a lot more reiterations, or iterations I should say, to come on this dashboard homepage. We do have a support button down on the bottom left hand side of the screen that you can go ahead and add in any feedback or maybe some insights that you would like to personally see out of the data relating to your eBay page. If we go to the next tab down, it is the death pile page. Now, death pile, we wanted to label it as the death pile terminology because it is native to eBay sellers, and if you're new to eBay watching this, death pile basically just relates to stock that you haven't yet listed into your eBay store. So you might have gone out thrifting, you've bought a whole heap of stuff, but you haven't actually gone ahead and put it live yet. That is exactly where you would go in and you would add that information to this page here. So in this example, we've got 6 items in the death pile that are not yet live on eBay. You've got a cost of good there of $45 to obtain those 6 items. And then the estimated listing price is what ELP refers to. So $214.75. And then an average cost of good for these items that we've purchased of $7.50. Now,
Just the one thing I take of note there is that there's nothing in there to allow for, that I can see yet, to allow for bulk purchases. Like, I was looking at when I went down to Ballarat and sourced jeans and I came home with like, I don't know, 80 pairs of jeans or something, all on the one day. I wouldn't want to be entering each of those in as a separate
And if you know
item.
me, I only buy bulk lots or mostly
Yeah,
bulk lots.
and that happens a lot of time with books, so yeah.
A really important thing to note is that all of these top line numbers, items, cost of good, ELP and average cost of good, they're all relating to just this page of death pile only. So while the dashboard sort of
once this is
collated
done,
all
I'll
of
show
the
you something.
information for a top line view of the numbers, I want you to know that every single one of these pages is relation to just that individual page. To add an item,
What was that, Adam?
Hold on, I'm checking out. I want to see what all the hype's about.
What do you mean you're checking out?
I bought it.
Oh, okay. Well, you'll be able to tell us then.
item to your death
Yeah.
pile, incredibly simple. We just move across here to the add items page. And then from there, you can simply type in the item that you've got. So it might be Lord of the Rings, PS3 game. Cost of goods, well, the cost of goods for this one might have been $3 and we expect to list it for $19.95. And then we found this one at a thrift store. So we'll just type in thrift store there. And the category is going to be video games. So we've got some pre-built in categories that you can select from, which is a cool, unique feature. And then we're going to label it as a SKU of KP5 that we've been doing for Kate's store. Date that we listed it would be today. So we're going to pick the 2nd of February and then we're going to create that item. Item added successfully. And then as you can see, we have got Lord of the Rings PlayStation 3 game right there, and these numbers have gone ahead and swapped over. So we now have 7 items in at $48, $234 worth of expected listing value at a cost of good of $6.86. So you can go in and delete as well by going over to the right hand side, and you can select the delete option, and then from there you just say yes, I'm sure, and then the item goes ahead and deletes. You can also push across to the tick box here on the right hand side. By selecting that, you can create an active listing. Now, a really important step here to note is that isn't actually an eBay listing, so it's not going to go live onto eBay. You're just moving it from the death pile tab down to the next page that we're going to talk about, which is the active listings page. Now, the reason why we've got this item ID is that you need to be putting that in there for our future plans to sync eBay's data into this flipped it dashboard. It's not available right now, but if we don't have users putting in the item ID right now, we're going to run into a lot of issues for active users when the sync functionality does come into it in the coming months.
Well, that answers that question, doesn't it?
Yeah, it
Something
might
that
be
we're going to work on
a
straight
bit
away.
cheaper
and
than
hope
this
to get
whole flip.
Yeah, but it's not going to automatically put your figures in. Adam, are you sure, you're not wanting to check it out so that you can work out your own version?
out that for larger stores, more importantly.
So I can work out my
next
own
few
what?
months. So we're going to put an item ID in there that we're going to obtain.
Well, you've got the API, isn't that what you're wanting to do?
Yeah. No, I'm wanting to create so all my ISBNs just go automatically in.
I know, just...
The automatic drafts.
Well, while you're in there, get it to automatically work themselves too.
From eBay.
I could
we're
do
going
a
to say
lot,
the
but
listed value was $19.95 that we thought it was going to be, and then we're going to list that item up today, the 2nd of February. Quantity 1, we're going to create that active listing, item updated. So, and if we go into the active listings page, you'll see that we've got Lord of the Rings, items now in store 42, so it's added Lord of the Rings here, and we've got that in at $19.95. Now from this page, you'll be able to see everything that is now reflecting what you're seeing on eBay. You've got a cost of good of $393.30 for your active listings. You have a listed value at $2,348.15. That should be the exact same number that you're seeing on eBay with regards to eBay's active listings. And then you've got an average sale price there of $55.91 based on what is currently active. Now,
I will say, I guess I see the one downfall of this versus Flipwise is that at least Flipwise is scraping the information for you, which helps people that don't like to do accounting. And
Really?
yeah, don't know anyone like that at all, Sandra. So this is still going to be reliant on you actually adding the information in yourself.
But in Flipwise, you've got to add your post in.
Yep.
You put your price of what you paid for the item. That then does a breakdown on the item, how long it's sell, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So you got that, and it gives you a return on investment. But it would
you'd
be
still
good.
have to add your post in regardless, even if this did scrape it, because, unless it could scrape from Australia Post as well.
It's supposed to,
But it doesn't.
but he hasn't bothered to do it because he's got far more important thing to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Say
But
Lord
that's
of the Rings
saying
went
that's
on to
not
go
very
and
much.
sell.
It's the other
Firstly, you
end
can
that
go
I
into this
find,
button here and you can
you
click
know,
edit, and there are some edit
Yes.
mailers
functionalities
and all
of the
those
data that
things
you've already put
you've
into
got
the
to take
listings
into
tab.
account.
Or you can come over here and you can unlist the item, or you can mark the item as sold, or you could delete the item completely. So if we click mark as sold, you'll need to click on this button here, which is new order. So if we click on new order, we type in the order ID, which we had originally put in, 123456. The date that we sold it was the 2nd of February. And then we go back to eBay and we type in the fees. So there might be $2.40 in fees. We know the shipping cost is going out for $6.50. So we obtain all of this information and then we type in the order total there of $19.95. We create the new order. So as you'll see there, the number has fallen down now to 41.
That knows you've sold an item before you've even seen it on your eBay page.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
The active listings tab, and it has brought it down to the orders tab. So the orders tab now says 12 orders, and as you can see there, Lord of the Rings has fallen into the orders tab. And this has got all of your information relating to your fees, as well as a really nice feature, which is sell-through rate. So we know that this one was sold in 0 days because we've literally just gone through the process within a couple of minutes here. Cost of good was $3. The fees, the shipping, and the profit ends up being $8.05. And that then has a holistic overview sitting at the top. 12 orders, $1,080 worth of sale value, cost of good, fees, shipping, and the overall profit of $229. The next tab, that's sort of the journey of an item, right? It goes from death pile to active to sold. So you walk it through its journey with those 3 pages. And then you've got the returns. So you can add in a return just over here on the right-hand side by filling in these create a return details. And that will adjust the numbers for you in the sense of making a refund of the money that will take off the sales total. And it will recorrect in the dashboard for an overview of your overall profit. In the management tab, we have sourced locations. Now, source locations is a good one because you can just simply add in the different areas that you're finding your items from, and then when you go into your item source location when you're creating your listing, you've got those preset filters which you've built through this source locations tab right there. Receipts is a great...
It's kind of like a flashier version of my line-by-line accounting sheet, isn't it, really, so far?
Great one. As you'll see here,
Yeah, and it also looks like he's been having a go on Flipwise too.
And she's been inputting her receipts by simply just taking a photo and then uploading it into her receipts tab. So you can do that by just clicking add item, click on the upload a file, PNG, JPEG, and pick the date of the receipt, and then you can add that receipt in there. Expenses, now this is relating to all of those MISC expenses that we were talking about on the pie chart earlier. Expenses are a great one to be putting in: bubble wrap, butcher's paper, sticky tape, all these sorts of things. Could be petrol, which is a large expense for a lot of sellers out there. Basically anything that isn't relating to the cost of good of an item, or the fees or the postage or anything like that that's item specific. Everything else fee related, maybe your subscriptions that you're doing for your eBay business, anything that helps you out in any way from a business perspective, go ahead and put that into this expenses tab, and then that will help give you that accurate overall profit back home on the dashboard homepage. We will have a tax report coming soon as well, so come the end of the financial year, you'll be able to go to this tax report and it will basically be all the top line numbers that you will need to give to your account.
Well, it's not that long to go, Maddie. You better get a move on with that one.
So we want to make that even more simplified for you as well, because accountants don't need every single piece of information. They just need the required pieces of information to do your taxation. So we'll supply that for you over the next couple of months with an update soon to come. And then down the bottom, we have this support button.
We don't need to know about the support button, but yeah. Okay. Thoughts? Anyone?
Well,
Just
if it's
quickly.
Not, if it's not, sorry.
Well, sorry, before I get interrupted by probably the 2 four-legged babies, I do think he's probably aiming at, like you said, the beginners, and paying the extra money is it really worth it when it could be done in a spreadsheet until he gets the incorporation kind of sorted out, so it goes straight from eBay an Australia Post and that to the website.
Yeah.
Is that what people want?
Well, yeah, I mean, that would be what Flipwise does,
It's ideal.
apart from the fact that it doesn't import Australia Post, I mean, it would make things so much easier. I would look at that as it would create more work for me. The way that's entering in is a lot more work and more complicated than how I enter my data to my spreadsheet. So, whereas I guess if you started off with that, that's what you'd be used to,
if you were starting a
isn't it?
new store, then
Yeah.
it looks like you could, but it looks pretty shit at the moment.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah,
quite
it's certainly, I mean, I thought it was going, when they said this morning that it was right to go, I was sort of expecting to see that it was already synced with eBay and Australia Post and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And I guess the issue becomes too, and it will be interesting to see what he does with it, whether once they have those capabilities built in, how much more the price goes up. So...
Yeah, it would depend. Does eBay charge to...
No, it's free.
No.
Okay. And Australia Post, if you can get that
No,
sorted.
that's also free.
Free.
And why can't we organise it ourselves?
Well, we need someone that knows how to do the coding.
Yeah, we need someone who's smart enough and talented enough that knows it to not rob.
Yeah, it's it's interesting.
API.
It's interesting.
I mean, it certainly helped people to, especially newies, to work out if they are turning a profit or not.
Yeah, and if you haven't got all that many items, it wouldn't be much of a headache. But, if you're listing big amounts a day, like even if you're listing, 10 upwards a day, that's a lot of extra work, isn't it?
And what would it do with your end and sell similars, like all that sort of stuff?
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. You have to take all that into account, don't you?
Flipwise takes it all into account, but just updates information on the original listing, doesn't put it in as a new listing.
Yeah.
It'll just be double work for anyone who's experienced.
Yes, I agree, Dave. Yep.
That's
what
it looks like.
Until it gets scraping, or you get an update button. These are my 10 listings I've done today. Ports it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's basically like double handling. That's what it is, and you're at the mercy of your own accuracy. So if you make a mistake or forget to enter something, then the figures aren't going to match eBay's, and it's not going to have the accuracy that you need unless you're an accurate person to begin with.
Yeah, to me, it kind of feels like it's a bit of a cross between Chris Furlong's really complicated one that he has and Two Aussie Thrifters, but put into a, like a Google Sheets type format with graphs and stuff. Like, that's kind of where it looks like to me. But
can I ask, is there anybody here who has the Two Aussie Thrifters spreadsheet, and does it drag the information from eBay, or do you have to enter the info yourself?
No, you have to.
They don't do line by line.
Yeah, they don't do line by line, so it's more of an overview, which, so I did a bit of a thing on that, on the two of those a while ago, and I feel like Chris and Ethan's is far too complicated for a beginner.
I hated it. Absolutely hated it.
And really difficult to navigate. I used it for a while, but then I went back to my spreadsheet because of the time all that extra time it took me to use. So that was that thing. But then Two Aussie Thrifters is good because it's nice and simple, and it does give you that, like, as long as you're inputting your those base figures that you need to put in, it will give you that tax information, but it kind of was almost a bit too simple for some people, and it doesn't give you that option of an area where you could do that line by line if you wanted to, I guess.
Yeah, I really like Flipwise, and one of the reasons is it just because it imports it itself, and when you've sold an item, it'll bring it up with missing. It'll bring up a thing saying you've got missing data on these. So then you've got to go back in and go, oh yeah, okay, so I've got to put either the post in there or the fact that I bought it somewhere if I want to, or the cost of goods. So it kind of prompts you to. And it's too damn expensive.
Yeah, I also think from memory too, Brad's sheet is only on Excel, so you need Excel to be able to use it.
Yeah, I bought Excel to use it, and then I didn't.
Yeah, and
work it out.
That is a downside with that. If you've already got Excel, it's not an issue. I mean, going to do something, do it on Google Sheets that then everybody can use it would be my thought. But yeah, I guess the question I'm interested in, and I thought other people might be interested in, is there anybody? I mean, I know Sandra uses Flipwise, so that is specifically designed for resellers, which is a good thing, and that's probably the difficulty with other commercial accounts accounting programs is that they're not designed for that. Is there anyone that uses a commercial accounting software?
Bax does. I'd like to hear about his.
Yeah, I use Xero software.
Yep.
I'm just trying to find the prices, how much I pay a month. I'm just having a look at their website. For the top tier package, $11.50 a month. It's all automated. I don't keep receipts. I just tap on my card. I have a business account. I do so the Xero software program's linked to my bank account. My accountant can see all that information, so they can generate profit and loss statements when I need it. And the only thing I have to do is every now and then go into the Xero program and just do the accounting on saying what those transactions are, but it has memory. So after you've entered a transaction and you said what it is, given it a category, for example, it might have been stock purchase, it remembers that. So if let's say you go to Vinnie's near you and you buy from there, once you've entered that once, it'll say, is this the Vinnie's place? And you just have to hit OK. You don't have to enter all the information. It's just there.
Yeah.
I'm not massive on accounting. I don't find it interesting. I find it quite boring. And, there's people like Chris, they love their facts and figures, and that's great. But if you're not that person, it's going to bore you to death. And I'm not like Chris. I just want to, I have an idea in my mind of what the cost of good is. I have an idea in my mind of what I want to sell it for, and I know how much profit I'm going to make on it. Apart from that, all I want to know is how much revenue am I generating per week, and I roughly know what percentage of that is profit. That's all I need to know. So
as far as your sales go, how do you then enter that into Xero? Or is that just you enter that in when that money goes into your bank account?
It's just accounting. So I'm not doing specifics in terms of I sold this amount.
No, I get that.
Sorry, so what's the question?
Oh, I guess, like you don't have to have a worry about having a breakdown about, like, that's your revenue, like, or your profit, I guess in a sense, kind of your profit that goes into your bank account because the fees are already taken out. Like, do you have to worry about keeping figures about your fees or anything like that?
So the eBay pays whatever the weekly, I have my payout every week, and that goes into my account. They've taken all the fees out of it. So as far as I'm aware, the accounting's done for you. Australia Post, it comes all out of that same account. So it's really just money in, money out. Basically, that's how I do it. And I suppose it's each into their own. If you want to keep, because I, like you, when I first started doing eBay, sort of 15, 20 years ago, I used to have an Excel spreadsheet because it was a hobby and it was fun, and I wanted to keep close tabs on it. But I'm not like that anymore. So in the SKU on each listing, I have a cost of good, and that way I can determine how aggressive I want to be when I make an offer to someone. And then when I do my end and sell similar, I sort of know how much I can drop the price and if I want to promote it a bit more. And I always sort of have an idea specifically, so I don't work on averages. I sort of know exactly what I want to get for an item.
Yeah, and look, I quite agree.
You'll have to do a presentation on that back one day.
I could try, but it'll probably be wrong.
I mean, but that's the whole thing, isn't it? It's having that basic information you need for your accountant is the end. And I mean, that's basically what Brad's sheet does. It just gives you that overall view. It doesn't give you that, such an in-depth view. I mean, I've probably kept up doing line by line more so now, so I can make what's sold videos.
Yeah.
Because it has a dual purpose.
Yeah, I mean, once I've sold something and it's out the door, I don't really give it much more of a thought. And the only time I would give it another thought is if I saw that item again in a shop to buy, because you remember your purchases where you were successful, just as much as you do, when you see something that you had trouble selling, you would never buy again. You remember those as well. So
I think you remember those more so, don't you?
Well, you're always happy when they go.
Yeah, they seem to stick in my mind better, I think.
Oh, that's easy to.
So when you look at your metrics back, you've got it worked out in your head rather than using. So that's from experience.
I think so.
Do you have a basic minimum that you work with?
No, and again, this is why I don't really work on averages, because I sell things that might be $100, $200, $300 worth, but then I'll also sell something that's only $10. and I factor in what did I pay for it. Am I sending it as a parcel? Am I sending it as just like a large letter untracked? So I sort of know all that stuff in my head when I sort of buy it. So I don't have a minimum sort of metric in terms of what sort of sale price I want to achieve for an item. I will sell something for $10 if it will make me $4 or $5 profit. Don't have a problem doing that. But everybody's different, and I suppose you have to decide. For example, with Judda, she does a lot of clothes, and realistically, would you bother doing a pair of jeans to make only $4 profit? Probably not. I wouldn't. But on the other hand, I've got I've got some CDs here that I'm listing at the moment. Like I've sold a couple tonight. They're only $10, but they're only going as a large letter. They're really quick to list. They're very small. They're easy to store. So in terms of the time invested versus, you're going to get that return eventually. It's not a lot of money, but it all adds up. So I don't have a problem doing it.
Yeah, I think there's a difference there though, Bax, isn't there? And that's where I find there's a difference between, the books, when I list them, I know they're going to perhaps take a longer time to sell. The clothing will sell quicker, not make perhaps quite so much profit. But that's okay. But then if you look at a CD as opposed to, say, jeans, if you're going to compare it to jeans, for example, you're right. I wouldn't list a pair of jeans with the thought that I'm only going to make $3 or $4 profit.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because it takes so long to do the listing. Whereas a CD, because it's so quick, why not? Because it's quick.
I listed, just to give you an example, I don't enjoy doing photographs of clothes. I still sell them because I know they are profitable. But while we were watching that video, one of those videos just then, I listed a CD while I was watching. I've got my little photo station right next to me. I can do the photos and list a CD. I can't list a pair of jeans because it means I have to go to another room and I can't listen in. So yes, I can do it.
Yeah, quite agree.
Hey boys and girls, gather around. Robbie Granny's here, rocking this town. We're talking eBay, Depop, and Etsy too. Latest trends and deals coming right to you. From the Granny's Reseller News, get the tips, the tricks, the do's and don'ts to use. From bargains to bigs and what's sold high.